Are you a big Corsair fan? Use iCue to get all of your RGB synced up real nice and tight? Well, if you like keyboards, the K100 Air wireless might just be for you. For those of you who move around a lot, it's an ultra low profile keyboard, if that wasn't clear by just how thin it looks on the packaging here. Wow. It's only 17 millimeters thick at its thickest point and about 11 millimeters thin at its thinnest point. I'm not super opposed to low profile switches. I'm also not against like a chiclet style keyboard. I personally find them totally okay to type on. And while I'm not the kind of guy to take my keyboard on the go, I can appreciate a really good wireless connectivity system. You know, as much as I'm not always the biggest fan of some of Corsair's other products, wireless connectivity and RGB are kind of their strong suits. Oh, it's got that big plastic shell on top in the box. Wow, that is thin. Holy jeez. I've had some pretty thin keyboards on the channel, but I think this might take the cake. I mean, yeah, look at that. This is like a razor. Before I, talk a bit more about this keyboard, let's take a look at what else comes in the box. We got a cable, nice and braided or sleeved. Yeah, it's about a 5-foot cable or so. We got a warranty guide. We got a safety information guide. That's it though, that's in the box. That's all you're getting, so it's just a keyboard. I was about to say that I'm a little disappointed you don't get a keycap or switch puller in the box, but I don't think you're really gonna need one with this. The switches aren't hot swap, and honestly, these keycaps are probably not going to be very interchangeable. Let's see, can I even remove them? Okay, they do pop off pretty easily actually, but take a look at this. As you can see, they're pretty different from your regular non-ultra low profile switch. It looks like they attach to the keycaps. Mostly the central point here, this might be super hard to see. It looks like that central plastic channel just kind of clips into this bar here in the middle. As you can see, the whole thing kind of butterflies down. I don't know if it's exactly like a butterfly switch, but it looks a little similar to me personally. And as for how it feels, it's okay. I think if I'm gonna go chiclet, I don't actually need mechanical in the first place. It's kind of crazy to say, but it's one of the only areas where I'm perfectly fine with using a membrane keyboard. As for the rest of the keyboard, you got some flip up feet, multi-stage, which is always appreciated to give you extra typing angles for whatever you'd prefer. That's PC and Mac compatible, which is most keyboards to be honest, and you can connect it to a ton of different devices simultaneously, which is always pretty cool. One nice thing about buying from a company like Corsair or Logitech is that you actually get a ton of very dedicated media keys. Like these don't appear to be on switches, but that's okay because it's just like, a back, forward, play, pause, mute, and then you get this nice little roller bar here, which I'm actually getting to be kind of fond of. We also get a lock key, lighting. This looks like a profile switch. This can actually hold up to 50 custom profiles for anyone who takes their keyboard between multiple systems. You don't have to reset anything. You just keep all your macros and hotkeys and your RGB just the way you like it. Speaking of macros, you also get 4 dedicated macro keys. Based on the legend, it looks like they control stuff like Wi-Fi and then the 3 different Bluetooth modes right out of the box, but these are programmable. And then aside from that, it's just a full keyboard. We got a numpad, we got our home keys, we got our delete and insert and all that. It's got a dongle, so you have really dedicated connectivity. They're using their slipstream technology for sub 1 millisecond latency. It's pretty good. We did test it, and the wired mode goes up to 8 kilohertz, which is blazing fast. The slipstream does support 2 kilohertz apparently, but we were only able to test it at 1000 hertz when wireless. So that's probably solvable through a firmware update or just a software update in iCue, but we weren't able to get it done for this unboxing here. As for the battery, it's not bad. Without RGB, this thing will do up to about 200 hours, and then with RGB turned on, probably at a lower brightness setting, it'll do up to 50 hours. So it's okay. That's a pretty similar battery life that you'll see in like wireless Keychrons and whatnot. They'll do more like 240, but 40 hours, whatever. This thing is super rigid and it's got this nice brushed aluminum look. As much as I'm not crazy about Corsair's designs in terms of like layout and the whole structure of the board and everything, I do really like that brushed aluminum look, especially on a darker finish like you get with the K100 Air. And then on the back, along with our adjustable feet, we also get this really cool patterning, as well as just a nice solid line of a nice rubber feet here to make sure that this thing isn't slipping all over the place. It's super light though, so don't expect, that ultra premium, it's heavy kind of experience that you get from a lot of other keyboards. I want to plug it in and take a look at if there's any kind of RGB or information lighting up on this little, what looks like it could be a screen here. We're gonna connect it to our computer and fire it up and take a look, but not before a word from our sponsor.
For today's video, we got a really cool opportunity to collaborate with Paradox Interactive and Stellaris. The hit 4X strategy game is free to play this weekend for everyone and allows you to build out an intergalactic nation from the early stages of exploration all the way to a democratic empire. Or maybe a dictatorship if you're into that. Because I mean, hey, taking no for an answer sucks, right? There's so many different builds and so much variation in Stellaris that no two games are ever the same. So start playing for free on June 22nd on Steam or by following the link down below.
Okay, how do I turn this on? Where's the on button? Oh, it's right here. That was actually super easy to find. Hey, and it's lit up. And is it detecting? It looks like it is because the roller bar already worked, except you can't see that because I didn't start recording on OBS yet. So just for reference, what they're trying to get with this is about as thin as a laptop keyboard. They have had these ultra low profile switches in some laptops. I think that this is the first keyboard to actually have them though. So if you've used them in other laptops and you liked the experience already, then you know, maybe this is actually the exact keyboard that you want to buy. Let's just type it out. 123, 99%. That's one of the, I think that's one of the best ones I've had so far. I have to admit, I absolutely love typing on chiclet keyboards. There's something about having just that really incredibly tiny actuation force needed to press a key. You know when you have to push really far down on your keyboard and then all of a sudden to go over to the next key, you have to raise your finger up a little bit because there's just that much actual travel distance between the key being pressed and not being pressed. The nice thing about chiclets is your hands just kind of float right over top of the whole thing super easily. Like 123 words per minute, 99% out of the gate. I'm super tired today. You know, not at my best at all, and that's pretty good. I do love the typing experience that you get from something like this. And then if you already like chiclet, but you want a mechanical feel, this is it, honestly. Now, that being said, you can get pretty close to this in a regular low profile switch, so I don't know if you need necessarily the ultra low profile that Corsair is offering here. It does come at a bit of a premium price, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But, you know, as for the RGB and the screen and everything, it looks pretty nifty. Keycaps are double shot. They're just ABS, so I guess that's one of the real problems is you can probably expect them to wear out a little bit faster than usual. I don't know how easy it's going to be for you to find a matching keycap set for this board when they do actually wear out. So beware of that, I suppose. Man, if you like the way that chiclets feel and sound and you want something mechanical, this really kind of is it. Let's check out iCue. You know, I hate iCue, but it's actually a really good program. I hate it because it's a resource hog, and I just don't like the walled garden that Corsair creates where it's like, hey, you want to use one of our products? Well, I hope you're ready to use all of our products because they all sync up really well in iCue. And you can sync up so many lighting profiles. This thing can do 20 simultaneously, which is pretty wild. And yeah, it just works, frankly. Like I've tried using Signal RGB and Open RGB. They work pretty well, but it's never perfect. Whereas if you're using all Corsair, man, iCue just works. Let's see if our media keys work. Let's just like put on a YouTube video or something. Connectivity was a breeze. Admittedly, I'm using the dongle, which just always kind of works, at least for me personally. If you're trying to connect this through regular Bluetooth, you might have issues. I don't know. I would highly recommend using the dongle anyway. I would only use Bluetooth if you want to keep the dongle in like a dedicated device, and then you want to switch it over to say your laptop without removing that other really rock solid connection. ShortCircuit. Okay, whoa, that's got audio. Let's mute that. There we go. Actually, mute. Boom, it works. The system works. Yeah, play, pause, that works. So let's see what this one is. Is this just brightness? Or is this like RGB modes? That's kind of the one thing that is a little annoying actually. They just strictly want you to use iCue. And if you don't want to use iCue, there was no quick start guide that says, hey, yeah, use like function and this button to cycle through RGB modes or change brightness on the fly. One of these might do that, but I don't know what it is, so I'd have to look it up now. I have to use iCue specifically. You don't always want to do that. It does look like this just kind of cycles through and eventually turns RGB off. I never use locks on my keyboard. And then it looks like our screen is just displaying some extra information, like how it's wireless right now. I don't know what the shield means, and then for the lock, you get a little lock symbol there. I'm not sure what else populates on here. Looks like we've got a little battery and a power. It's actually really hard to see though. It would be super cool if this was, instead of just lighting up a few symbols, if you could turn this whole screen into whatever you want. You could put like a GIF or something on there. I think this is the profile button, but I'm not 100% sure. Let's keep iCue open and take a look. Detected it right away and knows it's a K100 Air, which is super cool. Oh, iCue. Oh, you know what? I can't find a quick start guide, but I think they included a QR code for me to scan. So let's try that really quick. It took me to the store page. I don't want to add to cart. I already own this thing. Maybe it is a quick start guide and I hit the wrong thing. I'm not sure. I don't think it is. It looks like it just took me to the store page where you can probably download a little manual or something from the website. Slipstream connected. Oh, baby. Lighting effects, hardware lighting, performance. Ooh, indicators on, brightness. As much as I like iCue, I also, since I never use it, I'm not very good with it. So I'm not gonna be able to show you a ton of iCue stuff. So when we were doing our testing, we didn't have the latest updates. I just downloaded all the latest updates and bam, we've actually got 8 kilohertz on the wireless receiver. That's pretty sweet. I don't think I've seen 8 kilohertz wireless yet. I could be wrong. Razer has been putting out some pretty fast keyboards recently, and there's a ton of other vendors as well. So that's only for, oh, okay, no, that's weird. Wireless receiver polling rate, 8 kilohertz, okay? And then slipstream wireless polling rate, 2 kilohertz. So I'm not sure which value. This is the speed of the point-to-point communication over slipstream wireless, which may be affected by power saving modes and multi-device connections. I'm not entirely sure how to get the actual full 8 kilohertz through the wireless receiver, but there's a setting for it, so that's pretty cool. Oh, it's got PlayStation mode built in. Boom, PlayStation mode. You can change a bunch of keys to be whatever you want. There's a ton of customizability. It's great. There's per key RGB, so you can assign whatever you want and create as many custom layers as you want. Well, not as many as you want. You can do up to 20, which is a lot of layers, to be perfectly honest. So you do kind of get a lot of keyboard in this package. It's wireless, it's got a decent battery, it's got a ton of RGB, it's got a ton of customizability as long as you're, you know, an iCue fan, but it's expensive. You know, it's razor thin, I will hand it to them there, but you're paying $280 US. I think that if you want to buy your own keyboard and you don't need it to be super low profile, super thin, super lightweight, super like travel ready, then I don't think that you should probably buy this. That's a lot of money, to be frank, especially for something that you can't change the switches on. If you find out you don't like these ultra low profile switches, you can't really change the keycaps all that much. More options might come out in the future, but right now you're definitely not going to find quite as many universal sets that just easily swap out. I think though, if you are in the Corsair family already and you do go from laptop to computer to maybe a console, or you take it on the road with you, then yeah, this could be the right choice. I think the only real problem I have with it is that it's crazy thin. It's good that they've got this K100 Air, but they need to make like a K100 Air Mini, because like, yeah, it's thin, but it's huge still, right? It's still a full keyboard plus media keys plus a screen right here. So if they could just like make not even a TKL, but like a 60% with the exact same technology and the exact same chassis and all that, honestly, I would be a lot more enticed, especially if they could cut like even $50 off the price point. But you know what? You really are paying quite a bit to get certain features that are pretty rock solid, like iCue just kind of works. So there you have it. That's the K100 Air wireless from Corsair. It's a pretty good keyboard. It's travel ready, but it is a little expensive. So if that's for you, pick it up. If not, yeah, you know, just completely ignore it.